Josh, questions on here now. I read that you were very eager to get the role of Peter.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering what it was about him and this material that you kind of connected with so strongly.
Yeah, I mean, when I was reading the books, I was actually blown away as to how much I felt like I was like Peter. He has this kind of belief that no matter what kind of circumstances he's thrown into or what he's told by people, that he has to maintain what he believes in as a person. And for me, that's been one of the driving forces in my kind of character throughout my life.
Okay. I mean, there's, like, inevitably, people in the industry are kind of calling this the new Twilight. Which I think, I don't know, personally, I think it does a disservice to the story because I think they're very different.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're very different.
What's your take on that?
I mean, I understand the comparison just because it's a very popular book and it's kind of, becoming even more popular and they're making a movie out of it. So I understand the comparisons, but honestly, besides the fact that they're both books, they're such different worlds. I mean, everything about the Hunger Games is very different. I mean, there are elements of love, which is the kind of only similarity, but I don't know many stories that don't have that kind of element. But other than that, I mean, our story is a story about survival and about the power of people and they can rise up against something that's bigger than them. And so for me, that's really what the Hunger Games is all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, all of those differences aside, there still is the potential that this could kind of lead to inspiring kind of crazed fan worship.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kind of prepared for that? The kind of stuff that Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart have been talking about is kind of nuts.
It's like one of those things where I don't really know that there's a way you can become prepared for that kind of thing. At the same time, it's exciting, and I feel like I'm an adventurous kind of person. I'm excited for the new adventure that I'm going to be going on, and it just kind of shows how passionate people are about like movies and about books and stuff like that. So I think that I'm very excited about the whole prospect.
What I like about the Hunger Games is that what's quite different about it for kind of a teenage franchise, for want of a better, is that the female character in it is actually quite strong. And you probably punch me for this, but your character Peeta is kind of the damsel in distress for a lot of it. Is that
definitely
fair enough to say?
No, it is true. I think Peeta kind of has a tendency to sometimes come across a little soft, which is actually something that myself and Gary wanted to kind of change a little bit and wanted to make Peeta a little more strong. So in those scenes, like especially in the cave, when Katniss and Peeta are in there and Peeta's confessing his love to Katniss, it can read a bit sappy and a bit like I've loved you all my life and get a little soap opera-y. And so we were very keen on making sure that was done in a very strong, like, this is how I feel, I'm about to die, so I need to admit this to you kind of thing. So I think we made him a little bit stronger, which I think was necessary.
And there's always the hint, isn't there, that you don't know whether he actually is legitimately this way or it's just playing up to the camera, which adds a kind of different element to it, doesn't it?
It definitely does. It's great, too, because we got to play on that throughout the story, and especially in the beginning when I'm, like, running with the careers and whatnot. As an actor, it's fun because you're kind of teasing the audience, and, you get to kind of play almost a few different characters kind of wrapped into one.
For me, the Hunger Games, I like to think of modern Hollywood kind of being like the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Where, like, all these young actors like you are kind of competing against one each other
sure.
to come out on top for these
for sure.
Do you have a kind of ambition, or do you have a killer instinct, do you think, to kind of make your career just turbocharge?
Honestly, since I first started acting, I've never thought about it as a competition, which is really weird because it's exactly what it is. But like I lived at this apartment complex called the Oakwood, and this is where all the young actors go to compete for the roles. And for me, I was just oblivious to it. I was just like, I'm having fun. These are friends of mine, and we're going out for the same roles. And I was kind of always raised with the thinking of everything happens for a reason. So if I didn't get a part, it led to something else, or it was meant for someone else. So for me, it was never really competition, but I definitely understand how that is how it is actually. Yeah.
You've made some really interesting choices as you've kind of progressed from a younger actor to kind of more grown-up actor. I mean, things like The Kids Are All Right, which are great choices. But I mean, is there any pressure? Was there ever any pressure on you, where, like, I don't know, agents or someone was saying to you, right, Josh, you have to lock down a franchise to kind of as an anchor for your career? Was this a conversation?
Not at all. No, I mean, for me, it's always been material driven. Since I first started, it was always kind of like I wanted to do different kinds of movies and play roles that I hadn't done before. And I think, like, to have longevity as an actor, versatility is really important. So to play, a role like Laser and Kids Are All Right, that's a very, real kind of grounded movie, and then to go do The Hunger Games or Journey to the Mysterious Island, to really kind of switch it up and just kind of keep people guessing and never know what I'm going to do next.
Lastly, can I just say, I mean, are you okay with the fact that you've reduced grown men to tears with the movie Bridge to Terabithia? Does that come up a lot? Because I bawled, I'm a wimp, but I wonder if other people have said that to you.
They have said it to me before. I've cried a few times in movies before, so I appreciate that anytime that happens.
It's great, Josh.
Awesome.
Thanks, Mel.
Cool.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks a lot.